of the dumbest decisions ever. And, like, infuriating. Like, I found myself screaming at my TV. Like, literally jump up out of my bed and scream at my TV because of, like, how dumb the characters were acting. It's like, no! Don't handle the biohazard without any fucking...
personal protection equipment?
Yeah. Like, don't handle the fucking mysterious artifact that just infected your friend and turned them into a zombie that you had to fucking kill.
So, there is a parody of horror movies called, it's a video out there, it's called Hell No, where people make, it's a parody of horror movies with them always making smart decisions. Like, for example, there's this one part where people will say, or someone says, hey, I forget the name, Josh, do you want to go to with us to an insane asylum at night and look at this Ouija board? And the guy's like, no, I don't. It's a pretty fun video.
Kind of sounds like a Key and Peele.
Or Key and Peele.
Skit.
Yeah, I've seen some of their stuff. They're pretty funny. It's a shame they don't still do stuff, but yeah.
It's funny. I was watching the one about, like, racist country music, and then, like, that one was fucking hilarious, where at the end he's like playing the song and singing, and then he's like, oh, and then he runs off from his basement. Because his friend was like, I don't really like those country music, and he's like, why? He's like, because it's, like, and he explains it to me, and he doesn't get it. And then, like, it takes a while for him to set in. That skit was fucking hilarious. Key and Peele has a lot of fucking hilarious skits. I've been finding them a lot recently, especially on, like, YouTube Shorts for my daily dose of brain rot medication.
I can understand, yeah. Doom scrolling
brain rot
medication can be fun sometimes, I guess. So...
Yeah. I'll swallow your soul. Anybody ever seen Army of Darkness? Oh yeah, that's actually a movie I like. Army of Darkness. What else? Evil Dead 2. That was an Army of Darkness.
You seem to like things that have to do with horror, huh?
A little bit. Military stuff. Although there was this one game. There was this one. I even streamed it. Terminator: Dark Fate Defiance. That had, like, a lot of gear porn / military gear autism, which is, it's a really weird, because it's like a milsim RTS, but it's, like, set in the Terminator Dark Fate universe, which is, like, the strangest part about it all. It was made by the same people that made a little game called Syrian Warfare.
What do you said something had to do with, like, Asperger's? What do you mean by that exactly?
Military gear autism. Like, you know those people that play Arma for 36 hours a day and just won't ever shut up about it? And, like, just know, like, every single weapon or whatever. Or, well, I mean, they might be casual, like, history people, or they might even be, like, hardcore people. And some of them even claim to be historians, despite, you know, not really being good historians. But, like, they know a lot about military gear and stuff like that, or are obsessed with modern military gear. Terminator Dark Fate Defiance kind of has that, like, particular autism. And I don't say autism as, like, an insult. I say it because I have autism. But I say it more as in, like, just a kind of, like, an obsession, sort of, you know?
Okay.
It makes it for a very interesting game, because it's like trying to be a hardcore, realistic military RTS, but also set in the Terminator Dark Fate universe. Which, actually, fun fact, the game actually started development before Terminator Dark Fate, the movie, actually did.
Interesting.
Which was kind of weird. Also, yeah, Terminator Dark Fate, like, really bombed. People hated that film.
So, okay. Why don't we move on from movies and media? So, all right. Let's see here on the notes. Okay. So, all right. Let me ask you about this. if you were to do any kind of like special events or any kinds of things to like mix things up or to like try and do something new, what kind of thing would you want to do?
Well, part of me considered a charity event, but honestly, I just know that like charity is ultimately a selfish kind of thing that's kind of passed off as like not being selfish because people it's
What do
a
you
thing
mean?
people do to feel it's a thing people do to feel good about themselves, and like that's why charity is selfish, because it's like, you want to feel good about yourself and be like, man, I really helped that person. And there's nothing wrong with that in the slightest. I didn't know you could kick the buckets
Wait,
in this game.
wait, 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 wait. I'm confused here. Are you saying it's bad to do charity?
No, I just said, oh my god. I just said no, that's totally okay if you want to do a selfish thing, but charity in itself is inherently selfish in a lot of ways.
How's that?
Because it's more about feeling good about yourself and feeling like you're helping people, by giving money that you would otherwise spend on like yourself. And I'm saying that's totally fine if you want to feel good about yourself.
What about anonymous charities?
Anonymous charities, now that might be a bit less selfish. Yeah, I'll give you that. And I'm not saying, like, when I say selfish, I don't mean that charity is bad. Hell no. I think charity is a good thing. And it does help you feel better about yourself, and it doesn't necessarily make you a good person just because you donated to charity, but it does make you feel better about yourself, and sometimes that's what you need. And ultimately, I do wanna, I don't know. I think I do want to do charity at some point, but at the same time, I realize that I come first because, like, I don't necessarily have my life secured, like my living space locked down and all that kind of stuff yet, or like, I'm not like quite set. So like, I definitely know that like I recently got my second payout on Twitch, and that felt so good. That felt so amazing. Special events. Honestly, one thing I definitely wanted to do was like do like a 20 or 30 player multiplayer session on like one of those games that allows like mass co-op, like with all of my viewers, play with all my viewers. So like play Killing Floor, like one of those Killing Floor servers that has like 100 players. Oh god, that would be so awesome. Like actually play with viewers, like Minecraft or something like that. Or Serious Sam. Yeah, I think Serious Sam can allow for like a ridiculous amount, like 16 player co-op, I think.
Okay. All
So
right.
I always wanted to do stuff like that, like have community servers. Yeah, community servers. Uh, of course, like have special events like, oh, we're going to be doing honestly, not gonna lie, my VTuber stuff is very unorganized, which is not really necessarily a good help in this industry, because this industry is brutal.
I see. So, if you were to do like a charity stream, what kinds of causes would you want to support?
Well, honestly, I don't really have any in mind. I just want to joke. So, like, let's say arming the space beavers as a charity.
Okay.
No, I mean, I don't know. I like, because there's some charities that like one problem with charity is that charities can often be fronts for cartels or like terror groups. Unfortunately, not always, but like sometimes.
All right. I mean, there are
Get
definitely
off my train.
there is definitely fraud out there. That's true. But there are also some that do pretty good work. Like for example, like St. Jude's Hospital.
That one I could actually probably get behind. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's just like everything has like I'm wary to donating to charities because it might be like I'm making some kind of political statement, or I'm like fucking getting into politics, because there are a lot of charities that unfortunately are political. And we live in a time and place where everything, simply owning a cat is a political issue now. Simply going to the gym and wanting to get fit is politics now, because people unfortunately have made it to be so.
What do you mean?
People are turning stuff that isn't inherently political into politics, because well, honestly, there's a lot of people that just like it when people are at each other's throats and divided. And unfortunately, especially in American politics, there's a lot of people that would prefer everyone to hate each other, so they could like and it's not just like for profit, but also just for their own gain or benefit. And so yeah, owning a cat, like there's articles about how you're more likely to be a liberal, or you are a liberal if you own a cat, or if you go to the gym, you're conservative.
I see.
I'm not making this up. I was not joking when I said that owning a cat or going to the gym has become political these days.
Okay. Well, why don't we talk about something that is...
Oh, so yeah, that's like kind of a stipulation I kind of have on charity, is I'm worried about it like going to like a cause that may or may not actually be like, you know, like may or may not be just. Now, granted, that's more up for me to decide, like if I'm going to do that. It's a kind of complex topic. Oh boy, more brains, of course.
Okay. So, well, let me ask you this then. So, what kinds of things are important to you?
Um, well, honestly, so like building more house. Well, honestly, right now, like just being able to live a happy, healthy, comfortable life, free from like mental turmoil. And okay, maybe that might be a charity that I might donate to, like veteran suicide, or like, like awareness of like mental health and stuff. Um, because like when it comes to like charities, one thing I'm afraid of is donating to a charity that pushes for, say, gun control, or pushes for like abortion to be banned, or like pushes for stuff like that, so that's a problem with charity, in my opinion, is that some of them can be politicized like that, when they shouldn't be. Now, I highly doubt something like St. Jude's would be politicized like that, or even like, veteran suicide, like helping veterans, with their mental turmoil. I know that was, let me see, one of my friends, Swift Storm, yes, Swift Storm. They did the charity that I just mentioned, like, helping prevent, and I'm dead again. Helping prevent like veteran suicide.
Okay. So it seems like mental health is important to you then. So
Actually, it is actually important to me. Thank you. I'm sorry I interrupted you. I mean, granted, this podcast, at least this particular episode, is like more all about me.
right. So okay. Is there anything you'd like to talk about in terms of mental health specifically? Not necessarily in terms of politics or charities, but like in terms of mental health.
Male mental health actually is like a big issue, because unfortunately we live in like some people, in this world have been demonizing men, like over the past, like since like 2016, and it's not, mind you, it's not really the biggest group of people, but it's still a problem where people are like, oh boy. So honestly, like the whole, like with all this turmoil and like, oh, man versus woman, conservative versus like liberal, all that kind of stuff, mental health is more important than it's ever been, with like the pandemic And like there's many people that killed themselves because they couldn't handle the lockdowns. And granted, yeah, I really empathize with them, because it's like being told you can't go out of your home, even if it's to like go to your job.
Right. Okay.
I didn't necessarily agree with the lockdowns, to be honest, but like then again, that is a difference of opinion. But like the whole pandemic has been really taxing on everyone's mental health.
Yeah, no kidding. Um,
And like a lot of stuff going on. The whole conflicts in like pretty much anywhere, bumfuckistan or whatever. Like, like random country number 69 that most Americans can't find on a map, but like seeing like or like the Ukraine conflict, the Israel Hamas conflict. Oh boy, oh boy. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on all the ridiculous shit going on today. Like,
I was hoping to talk to you about this outside of a political context, because it sounds like that's something that's really sensitive. That's a sensitive subject.
yeah, and honestly, I'm not necessarily stating. I'm trying to not state my personal views on the subject matter here, but I'm just saying, with all the world has been quite eventful lately since the pandemic, and unfortunately, that has really been killing people's mental health and killing their will to live. Jobs, and like the just the climate of like intolerance and hatred. And it's just it's a mess. It's a mess. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna keep it there. It's a mess. Like the way things are, and it definitely is not good for mental health. And there's especially people that like don't understand mental health, and pretend to understand mental health, and like family members giving unsolicited advice that actually makes the problem worse in the way that it makes you not feel like have you ever had a problem and like somebody gives you unsolicited advice you didn't ask for, and it made you feel worse?
Let me think for a second here.
Because that happens quite a bit.
Maybe once or twice.
I could think of like plenty of times where it's like, oh, if you want to fix your mental health, all you need to do is get a job, or like, eat this like mystery gruel, or like there's so many like problems. But also the people that like dismiss mental health, or like say give you cop-out answers, like instead of like actually listening to you and being empathetic, they'll just give like for one example, one of my neighbors, Tim, yeah, the first name's okay to give out, but not the last name, because that would be doxing. Yeah, so one of my neighbors, he basically says that like, oh, Jesus is the only mental health you need.
I see.
And it's like, do you know how like insulting that could kind of come off as?
Yeah, not everyone's going to be Christian, obviously, so yeah, that's not exactly going to work for everybody.
Yeah, like, religion may work for mental health for some people, but mental health, honestly, therapy and all that kind of stuff is really complicated and really messy. And the worst part is, like, in America, at least, there are a lot of for-profit addiction and rehab centers and, like, mental health facilities that don't actually want you to get better, because if you get better, you...
Hello?
I can't tell if my chat's still going. And I guess we're lagging again, aren't we?
Yeah, I think, I don't know if anyone's posted anything in a while.
Okay. Yeah, no, nobody's posted anything in a while. Probably because they just want to lurk,
Sure.
Granted, it can be a bit annoying to not have anybody to bounce anything off of. Oh, there's the gargoyle.
Okay.
Yes, move on.
Oh, alright, okay. So, what if you were to, what would be something that you think could help improve the state of mental health in the world?
Well, I mean, one of them. So in America, at least, like I already mentioned, for-profit like mental health facilities. Um, and while I get it, doctors got to make money or they won't be able to help people. Like at the same time, like there's many places that will just be incentivized to keep you there, to keep you down. Um, and I don't think it should be nationalized because that never works.
What do you mean
Like
exactly?
nationalizing mental health care, that's a horrible idea. But I do think that like American society as a whole, or just no, just society in general in this whole world, just people need to learn empathy more and learn how to well, one example. So in real on the internet, it's easy to just block somebody or dismiss somebody because like, oh, they have a different point of view, or oh, you don't, they give off quote bad vibes. Well, not everyone is going to give off good vibes all the time. And that's okay. You don't have to give off good vibes every single moment you're alive, or most like and people are like people are blocking people based on vibes and stuff, when in real life you actually have to spend time with people you hate. And in a lot of ways, like you're better off as a person for that because you know how to deal with people. And so like having that lack of empathy, especially on the internet, can be kind of dangerous because like somebody could be going through a lot of issues. Like their mom could have just gotten cancer, but because they you don't like them based on like something like really from as petty as like quote vibes. Like what does that even mean?
I'm
Like
not sure.
you don't empathize, like you don't make an effort to empathize with them because you're like, oh, I don't like this person. You
So
know,
it sounds like empathy is important to you.
Empathy is important, but not just to me, but to everyone, and like, in society in general. And it's a crying shame, you know. It's a crying shame that like there's a lot of people that don't have a whole lot of empathy anymore. And I don't want to say it's like, oh, back in the 70s, things in the 70s in a lot of ways were worse than they are now. And while there were some ways they were better off than now. Oh, that's a gill beast. Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you this. This is something I've asked some of my other guests. If you had complete creative control over something like, say, a movie, a show, a comic, a book, that sort of thing, and you could make it about whatever you wanted, what kind of thing would you want to express?
That's a good question. There's a lot of things that could be, expressed. There's a lot of things that could be expressed, but like, honestly, so like intolerance in modern society, where people are like, people like getting upset at each other over petty stuff, or like, being like, oh, this person. Well, then again, I already talked about that, but yeah, maybe make a show about empathy and learning to get along with people that you don't like. Then again, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. I love it because it actually has genuine life advice, and it talks about how intolerance and like and hatred and all that kind of stuff is counterproductive to society. And it's not like super preachy or like morally like pretends like it's morally superior to everyone else, like a lot of shows or whatnot do.
Can you give us an example of a show that does?
Well, I mean, literal propaganda shows is probably a good start. Like morally right.
Hello?
Not a cultist.
Oh.
Yeah. Why does it keep doing that? I don't know. I mean, honestly, like a cool action adventure like Indiana Jones, there's not many of those made anymore.
I see.
Now, I think if I open this cabinet, oh, that's a painting.
I don't know if I can keep.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can keep watching that first-person gameplay. That's kind of making me sick to my stomach. Like I remember I was telling you earlier that that FPS stuff kind of makes me dizzy. Yeah, I don't know if I can keep that on the screen. Sorry, that's.
You could just minimize it, you know.
Yeah, sorry. I thought, you know, I was trying to be accommodating and stuff. Okay. Yeah.
It just helps me. It just helps me, like, so I'm not like super fidgety and antsy, or, you know. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like there's a lot with modern TV that is just wrong, and I could probably spend all day talking about like modern TV and where everything's gone wrong. Like, you know, talk about like the state of like beloved franchises like Star Wars, you know, right? And say what I think that Disney got wrong, what I think they got right, etc., etc., etc. And honestly, I just want to make something that's fun. Maybe has a moral lesson to it, but it doesn't necessarily have to. And if it does have a moral lesson, it's not going to be like Christian-y, because like I always found those to be annoying.
Okay.
Not because I necessarily have anything against Christianity, but just like, I don't know. My mom really tried to make me Catholic.
Uh-huh. Would you like to...
And I know you're not... Yeah, so, you know, like, that's generally not nice.
Okay.
Would I like to talk about that more? Oh, hey, look, the Gill Beast. The Gill Beast! Look at them. They're actually a lot faster than I remember them being on land.
So, alright, okay. Now, let me ask you this. So you seem to be very opinionated when it comes to how media is portrayed, how people interact with each other, and so on. So what would you say your best life would be like?
My best life? Well, I mean, honestly, so the reason I am not talking about helping a lot of other people right now is because, realistically, I am not in a position to help other people, and that's why, you know, maybe I'm sounding like a selfish douchebag, you know? But, like, I need to live. I need to be able to live before I can help other people. And there's a lot of mental turmoil and, like, demons I'm facing right now. No crucifix needed, at least not yet. That I need to conquer those inner demons before I'm able to even consider, like, helping other people. Although, honestly, one of my biggest faults is I try to help other people anyways, even when I am in no position to help.
What do you mean?
Like giving money that, like, to somebody that needs help, even when they don't, even when I should be focusing on myself.
So, if you were to focus on yourself, what things would you want to do?
Honestly, so I love goofy memes and goofy video game montages, but I also like narrated playthroughs of, like, games, especially games like this one, Blood. Oh boy. So, like, Civ 11, for example, video reviews like Seth Zintak, and, like, you know, maybe, like, a couple donate to charity here and there, but also, like, sometimes I think about running for president. I can't possibly be worse than these fucking buffoons.
Well, I mean, that's one thing. That's one path a lot of people like to go to.
But other than that, like, be able to live, like, I don't have to be a fucking billionaire, but, like, be a multi-millionaire could be great, because, like, then I don't have to worry about money, you know, and I could give money to other people. But also, oh yeah, one big reason is money to fund creative projects and stuff. Like, I always wanted to, like, well, fund my art skills so I could actually draw whatever I wanted when I want to. And I'm like currently learning art right now, and I love drawing. Well, not as much as as much as I say so to like actually pick up the fucking tablet and draw most days, unfortunately. But then again, part of that might just be like my like mental turmoil and my inner demons and shit
So you like to draw?
keeping me
You
from
like to draw?
doing
Do you have anything
what
you
I
like to
want
share?
to do. No, I mostly draw NSFW.
Oh, okay.
I mostly draw NSFW. I do draw safe for work, but part of it's just like a lot of self-esteem issues, a lot of self-esteem issues. And if I could get past that and actually like start creating shit that people would want to watch, especially video games, like everything from RTS games, maybe a few point and clicks, but point and click adventure games aren't my style. Third person shooters, first person shooters, RTS games, like those kind of things are great. I always wanted to like, oh, shared chat started.
I think we might have somehow stopped sharing chat somehow. That was odd.
Of course, of course, of course, of course. Shared chat is on. Yeah. So like, yeah, using money to fund not only my creative visions and like my own like, cause I like stuff like BattleTech and like 40K and stuff like that. Problem with like 40K is it's way too expensive to play, and so I always wanted to make my own tabletop war game. And so I would open like a publishing house for that, but also just create my own like science fiction universe because I have a lot of interest. There's like My Little Pony fan fiction, and honestly, that's like I would create my own universe that's heavily based off like of that and various MLP fanfics I like to read. But yeah, use like that fortune money to pay people to like get interested in my vision, or maybe not even necessarily pay people to like, but be able to convince people to be uh interested in a shared goal of creating something fun and original, because I noticed that there's a lot of stuff that's like for profit these days when it comes to like timeless works of art, like say Star Wars, you know, like some people, not everyone, thankfully, trying to just squeeze as much money out of it as possible, you know, um, or like you have like all these battle royale games, all these extraction shooters, all zombie games. Yeah, zombie games are a perfect example of like cash cows, you know. And I'm not necessarily wanting to create a cash cow. I wanted to create something that's like genuinely fun and can bring people together. Like, do you like BattleTech?
Well, I've tried getting into Gundam, but I haven't gotten into BattleTech. I once played Armored Core for Answer when I was younger, and I thought it was kind of cool, but I did think that the micromanaging in For Answer was a little bit not my style. But I definitely think robotics are kind of cool, and science fiction's awesome.
Micromanaging for Lancer. Oh, that's another tabletop game. My friend was telling me about that. Yeah, Lancer.
I don't think I've played that one. I played a lot of D&D. I also have done some
Okay.
Warhammer 40K. Like I like Imperial Fists.
Yeah, I wanted to create like an expanded universe, or like a tabletop game that also gets several video game and maybe even movie adaptations. Um like BattleTech. So BattleTech is older than even 40K. And the lore is like even deeper than 40K, like way deeper than 40K. And it's also from the 1980s, much like 40K is.
All right.
And in some ways, like okay, so I know that like, have you ever seen the original? Go find some of the original art of like the original Cyberpunk or the original 40K.
Oh, I definitely have. In fact, I've had an artist once try to emulate the old ink and paper style from 40K with a certain commission. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, kind of hard to. It's kind of ugly, but it's kind of admirable in that and then you compare that to today's Games Workshop art style, and it looks more corporate.
What do you mean?
While So like the older pen and paper RPG of 40 Warhammer 40K, especially like 40K Rogue Trader way back in the day, you know, because 40K kind of started because it's based off of Rogue Trader, but then people wanted bigger battles than in Rogue Trader, and then it became 40K First Edition. Or I think First Edition was Rogue Trader, and then Second Edition, and you know, stuff like that. And it was like a lot of it is silly and doesn't always take itself seriously. I just remembered that the spiders exist in this game. I hate the spiders. So like when you look at the art style of like old school 40K, it looks a lot more raw and a lot more less corporate because of like the people drawing it.
What do you mean though in terms of the art looks corporate? What do you mean?
Like modern Games Workshop art just looks so clean and refined and like a little more. Maybe it's like, I don't know. There's something that kind of there's a kind of magic when you look at like the old art books of like Cyberpunk 2020 or like 40K's original like art books. You know, like it looks raw. It looks very punk rock, very 1980s like punk rock inspired like look to it all. You know, like fuck the system. You know.
Okay, I think I can understand what you're saying with that, because yeah,
yeah, because like while we were fighting communism in the 1980s, some governments were resorting to very authoritarian ways that arguably made us no better than the communists in a lot of ways when trying to fight communism, but also just like a lot of like problems in the 1980s, especially in like 1980s Britain, and like the fears of the future. So like Cyberpunk 2020, like the fear of like corporate or government control, like being everywhere and like a surveillance state, and like with the so before cyber psychosis was a thing, augmentations in the game Cyberpunk. What happened is if your character had too many augmentations, what could happen is they could be remote controlled like a meat puppet.
Sure,
by
I
corpos.
I'm familiar with that concept with Cyberpunk. Yeah, if you have too much cyberware, you lose your humanity. I'm familiar with that.
I always thought the you lose your humanity part was really fucking stupid and dumb. But the originally before cyber psychosis, I don't know why they changed that, because yeah, cyber psychosis wasn't a thing and you didn't lose your humanity.
Hello?
Oh my god. The more technical difficulties, the more pissed off I get. So like originally cyber psychosis was not a thing, and what would happen is your character would be controlled by the corporations like a remote controlled drone / meat puppet if you had augments. So like the augments being used as a way to control people. You know, kind of sounds like some Jones.
Let me ask you this:
stuff,
what does it mean to be human?
Well, what does it mean to be human? Well, humans have consciousness and deep thought. Oh, hello, always EP. Thank you for showing up. Humans have so our consciousness, not our physical form, is what defines our humanity, in my opinion.
Okay. So let's explore that a bit. When you say,
and I don't think getting a sick-ass robot arm makes you any less human. I think that's just a cheap cop-out, like, answer to the problems of cyberware. The problems to cyberware is it's like, is like the fear, and to be honest, it's a pretty valid fear of, like, say, planned obsolescence, and, or, like, being mind-controlled, or, like, being a prisoner in your own body. As in, like, somebody basically, say, flips a switch in your brain, and then all of a sudden you lose control of your own body, and you feel the need to go kill somebody because somebody's using, like, some CIA PSYOP program to go control you. And that's why I think cyberware, when it becomes a real thing, should be open source.
Wouldn't that make it even? I mean, I can understand. That's actually an interesting point you raised because there's kind of a dual edge when it comes to open source stuff. Because on the one hand, it's more transparent and therefore, it kind of it de-incentivizes corporate interaction. But on the other hand, by making it open source, it makes it so that the code base is a lot easier for more people to access. Therefore, it might also enable some bad actors.
Well, yeah, but any technology enables bad actors. Look at three dudes with box cutters killed 3,000 people on September 11th, 2001. Should we get rid of box cutters? Should we restrict who and who cannot have box cutters?
Well, we're talking about cyberware in this case. We're talking about augments and implants and what it means in a science fiction universe. And you were talking about how corporations can take over and hack people's brains and basically undermine on a fundamental level a person's agency. And I can't help
autonomy.
But feel, yeah, that's what I mean by agency. Yeah, and this seems comparable to that of like medical devices and medical implants because a lot of those have to go through. Well, normally they have to go through a lot of vetting and reviews and a lot of procedures like that. And it almost seems like there is a fundamental ethical violation that the author of Cyberpunk was getting at. Because I remember that the person who made the tabletop version of Cyberpunk was making it kind of as a warning.
It kind of is a warning, because, like, think about it this way. Imagine if in the United States, if you were conservative, or if you were liberal, or if you were a member of the Libertarian Party, that you like get your arm hacked off by a buzzsaw while working at a lumber mill one day, and you want to get a new cyber arm to replace that arm, or like a bio vaccine to like regrow your tissue, like regrow the arm like a salamander. And the medical company either charges you an extremely exorbitant high price, or they just outright deny, like your insurance denies your claim because of your political views, and therefore you can't live like your life as a fully functional human being because you're missing an arm and you can't get it replaced because, oops, sorry, you had the wrong opinion. That's definitely one thing. But also, like, sometimes I see people that are like that are either just authoritarian because they are genuinely malicious evil people, or people that like have good intentions that think that controlling people might be the solution. Like sometimes there's like say a movie comes out, don't invent the torment nexus, or like a book, don't invent the torment nexus. It literally has don't invent the torment nexus in the title, and either out of malicious or the desire to help humanity, somebody's like, hey, look, we invented the torment nexus from the hit book Do Not Invent the Torment Nexus.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is a lot of fundamental flaws with the Ted Kaczynski, the Industrial Revolution and its consequences, like that kind of bioterrorism or bioterrorism. I'm not sure. I'm just throwing word salad out there when I say bio, but like Ludditism, where it's like there's always going to be pushback. And to be fair, like Ludditism has some valid points, and concerns about technology, but it doesn't like.
Wait, where are we going with this? I'm confused.
Insurance companies, right? Imagine if your insurance company denied your claim to a new arm because you had to get it amputated because of an industrial accident,
right?
Because you said something spicy on Twitter one time.
I see.
Okay. That could be something Cyberpunk addresses. Another one could be yeah, like the whole control and loss of bodily autonomy, which is why I think cyberware needs to be open source, and like planned obsolescence That's another thing. Well, we don't even have cyberware. We're already dealing with that. Did you see the whole John Deere thing with like?
I'm actually very familiar with the concept of planned obsolescence and the integration it's had with various industrial designs and product management schemes throughout the decades. So believe me, I'm very acquainted with that. In fact, my dad was actually an engineer before they retired. So yeah, I'm very familiar with this concept, and I will say that yeah, I think a lot of things could do to be a little bit more transparent, and especially some things absolutely can be open source. I think some other things, though, for cybersecurity issues, though, it may actually be a disadvantage to make it completely open source.
Well, the problem with that is you have governments and organizations that may or may not have your best interest in mind, that might use it to oppress people. And so if it's not open source, it's very if it's not open source, then who's allowed to have it and who's not, like your terror cell or government or intelligence agency, etc., etc. Have you ever heard of Operation Northwoods?
I don't know if I have. Let me look that up.
Operation Northwoods was a plan by the American government to have a bunch of our agents dress up as Cuban terrorists and gun down our own citizens in the street as a false flag attack to.
Oh yeah, it was proposed. I'm reading it right now.
It was proposed, and when you have stuff like that, I don't trust the regulators, regardless of their intentions, to have that power to say, oh yeah, cyber war or cyberware can't be open source. And I would actually make the argument that the Second Amendment applies to cyberware.
Oh, what do you mean?
Because the Second Amendment isn't just about owning guns or owning military grade weapons or anything like that. It's a right to self-preservation. So if your government or a terror cell or some random motherfucker on meth out of his mind approaching you with a machete, you have an inherent right, not given by the government, given by the higher powers, or just given at birth as a natural born right.
It sounds like you're talking about stand your ground laws versus the Second Amendment, because
no, what I'm talking about is you have a right to your life. You have a right to live, and nobody can say it's one reason, it's one big argument against the death penalty, honestly, because the death penalty is you could argue that it's cruel and unusual punishment.
Wait
and
a minute.
giving
The Second Amendment reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. How does this have to do with stand your ground stuff, exactly?
Well, having the best arms and protective armaments to protect yourself. And stand your ground laws are really great in that context as well. So in the context, so Old English is a little confusing. So in the context of the Second Amendment, regulated meant trained. So a well-trained militia being necessary for the security of a free state, because that's what the word regulate meant in the was it the 18th century? Yeah, 18th century.
Late 18th century.
Yeah, late 18th century. That's generally what it, because regulate can be used as a way to say train or trained. And arms isn't just referring to guns. It's referring to knives, daggers, swords, axes, cannons, pretty much anything, anything you think would be necessary or required to protect your community, yourself, your family, So a lot of states ban brass knuckles, for example. Isn't that kind of dumb?
Well, okay. So, you're saying that so now you're talking about how the Second Amendment, it does not just refer to firearms; it refers to all sorts of weapons. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what arms means. Arms is like refers to like weaponry.
I see.
So like yeah, arms is just another word to encoding overload. Use a faster preset. Yep, I knew something was happening. Maybe that's what was causing the problem. I hate that I have to have Mozilla Firefox opened to like keep this running. You know, I wish I could run this like Twitch collaboration thing from the fucking my desktop with OBS. But yeah, arms is just a way to say weapons. So like the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Notice how it didn't specify like, oh, the right of to keep pistols or to keep shotguns, or it didn't specify.
Okay.
And I think that was on purpose.
Sure.
Because like one of the largest standing armies, if you want to consider it an army in the world, is the hunters that live in America. But also, like, if you like, not even that, like, if you also consider the amount of people that own weapons, not just for hunting but for self-defense, or a potential Red Dawn scenario, or a just for fun, or shooting sports, or just recreationally, like America, like the American citizenry alone has like a ridiculous amount of firepower, and that's on purpose, because like you see how like there's politicians like let me give you a couple examples. So like back in the 90s, there's a couple politicians that were one of them ran in like the 2016 presidential election, and she gave a speech about so-called super predators.
Would you care to talk about something other than politics right now?
Yes. I'm sorry. I wish you would have said something earlier. But yeah, there's people out there that want to take away your rights. Unfortunately. Like, look at the whole, like, well, I think I already said something about, like, abortion bans and stuff like that earlier, right? I'm sorry. Like, can we like keep the conversation more focused? I know like we're kind of getting off track, but that's kind of because of my rampant ADHD and like autism.
Okay. Well,
and I don't mean to be politically grandstanding. Usually I don't get this political on stream, but like, you just like, I don't know. It felt like it was kind of being asked of me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel that way.
No. It's more like you're totally fine. Like, politics is something I'm very passionate about, but I also understand why you don't want to talk about it, simply because it is a very passionate subject, and like I see a lot of people like living lives that are actively hindered by groups of by the government and like all sorts of factors, and like other groups of people harassing them, not allowing them to like live the pursuit of happiness, that they deserve, like the love, liberty, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
I see. All right. Let me think a second here.
Therapist 07. Oh, hey, Sturmigivers here. Or, Fedaline? Yeah.
All right. So.
Hello, welcome in.
Yeah, hey there.
Oh, boy.
I gotta admit, I had a pretty late night last night, so I'm feeling a little bit tired.
Yeah, so, like, I think that, like, one of my friends on their stat...
Hello?
Well, close enough, haha.
Are you there? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, it says dropped frames 0.7%, so I think part of it might be OBS on my end, which is kind of weird, because I usually don't have this problem. What kind of questions were you gonna ask me?
Oh.
Besides, like...
Well, okay.
Because because there's a lot we haven't asked that I feel like we should get to. Because like we didn't talk too much about boomer shooters, nor did we talk about like
Well, this is
my favorite snacks or my favorite like food or drink. You know, like
okay.
then again, granted, there's a lot of things that I have like a love and have a lot of like trouble. You know, with also Twitch growth. You know, like having trouble with that.
I see.
Believe me, I do wanna grow so I could reach a bigger audience and reach more people. One reason I want to stream is I want to introduce people to like old school shooters and just games that I grew up playing and loved myself. And I want to eventually be able to hire people or like just have people make silly meme edits of myself on stream and various recordings of me playing games, but also narrated playthroughs, you know, for a lot of fun. And just like, you know, silly meme montages and edits. Remember like those back in the day, the dark times of like 2012 when the Mayan calendar was ending and people thought the world was going to end, and MLG montages, you know. Remember the MLG montages?
Wait, so we went from the
brain
Aztec
rot?
calendar to MLG montages? I'm sorry, I'm confused.
2012.
Yeah.
2012.
Yes. Yeah.
That was the era of like Major League Gaming memes of like 2012, I think, to like 2012, 2013 to like 2015. And then after like 2015, it kind of like either started dying off. You know, like Doritos, Mountain Dew, smoke weed every day. Like, Mom, get the camera. Like,
Sure, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean,
get no scoped. Get no scoped. Like, smoke weed every day. Hit markers. Yeah, get hit markers, baby. Like, those fucking oh man, like people would make these ridiculous montages with like dubstep, and you remember the text-to-speech Daniel voice?
yeah. I back in the day, I was a fan of several of these kinds of things. Like I used to watch like Red vs. Blue. I used to like stuff by Rooster Teeth back when that was around. So.
Oh, Rooster Teeth. They shut down. Holy shit. I never thought I'd be mourning the loss of Rooster Teeth. But honestly, like, Machinima, let me see, 2012, you had Battlefield 3. Yeah, Battlefield 3, you had Call of Duty Black Ops 2, one of my personal favorites, which, fun fact, oh, baby, a triple! If you were Squeaker, or an African American in a Call of Duty lobby, you were cooked. Yeah, a lot of people on Xbox Live are really fucking mean to each other, seemingly for no reason. I feel like nobody, or I feel like a lot of people didn't truly hate each other as much as they said they did online. I think a lot of it was just trash talk because they were angry, you know?
Okay. I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of running out of energy. I had a very late night with a lot of personal stuff going on.
Like.
A lot of depressive stuff. Actually, that's the reason I couldn't.
Oh yeah, icky. Yeah, very icky. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah.
You know, here at Suspicious Pegasus, well, I mean, I always try to prop up my viewers. I always try to build my viewers up, because like, you know, that's like, I think that's important, building people up, and like having a community to. Oh lord, that's a lot of bloated butchers.
If I could just say here, I'm kind of a little bit running out of energy. It's been a bit of a rough week for me. I was hoping we could actually end it off a little bit soon here. But do you have any like projects you'd like to announce? Do you have any?
Would you want me to return to the Sometimes show? Because I feel like there's so much. But also, like, you should ask me like all the really like the streamer related questions. But also like, well, I'm saying you should, but yeah, honestly, I think we might have not picked the greatest date for this, to be honest.
Okay.
Especially if you didn't get a good night's sleep. I managed to get a decent night's sleep last night.
All right. Anyway, I was wondering, is there any kind of, before we go, was there any kind of like projects or channels or any kind of things like that you wanted to plug before we rate another?
I got projects. I got projects all the time, but the problem is that I never get anybody to help, and like complaining about it doesn't necessarily seem to, work.
Okay.
So like actually being able to like get the being able to get the help I need to like be able to further my career, and I mean. I do love helping people, and I do definitely want to grow my channel. And I am a little upset that we can't go for longer, and I do think I am a little, like, ask him about... No, we're not going to ask him about the UFOs and the aliens that live in the South Pole.
I'm sorry? What? Okay.
That live in the South Pole. I think he's just being silly, Don't pay him any attention. Although that reminds me of a cheesy... We talked about movies earlier, right? Horror movies?
Yeah.
There's a really cheesy as fuck movie from back in the day, 2013, 2012, that was like... I can't watch it because it was so gross and so weird. It was called... but the special effects and the CGI were so fucking bad. They looked bad even back then. But the movie was called Nazis at the Center of the Earth. No, I'm not joking. Like, it was a ridiculous movie. It's like... It's a B movie.
I see.
But yeah, I would definitely... my friend just says, I'm just being facetious. Yeah, XD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I would kind of like to end the stream a bit sooner. Usually we go for like 2 to 3 hours, so we're coming up on about the 2 hour mark.
Was it because I made you uncomfortable with something I said?
Like I was trying to say, we're coming up to the 2 hour mark, and I'm pretty tired, so I was hoping we could end
I usually stream for 4 hours.
Well, I guess I just don't have the mojo that you do. Sorry.
Maybe you should do a BRB. Maybe you should do a break. And then, like, during that break, maybe take a shower to wake up, get some coffee, get some energy, maybe do some jumping jacks or something,
Okay.
Because, like, I'm not quite out of energy yet, and I feel like there's so much more we have to talk about.
What would you like to talk about, then?
Well, so my passion of the boomer shooters and more like the VTubing stuff, because it seems like I'm so sorry, chat. I'm so sorry, Zargram's chat and my chat, that we kind of just got into politics because, I'm very passionate about that.
Well, I remember us talking about boomer shooters, and we did that earlier in the episode.
Yeah, we did, but we didn't, I feel like, okay, here's my problem right now. Here's what kind of makes me a little upset. I feel like some of these topics that we're talking about, we're just kind of doing surface level, and I crave deeper, meaningful conversation.
But you said when in our pre-show that you wanted me to avoid those topics.
No, I wanted you to avoid politics.
Okay.
At least I think I said. Please don't gaslight me. You're not gaslighting me. I'm just saying, please don't do it.
I'm not trying
I'm sensitive.
to. I have it right here on my notes.
I know you're not. I know you're not trying to. I'm just saying, I'm sensitive.
Okay.
But I just mostly wanted to stay away from politics, and/or
Yeah, you said you didn't want deep issues and personal stuff.
Deep issues.
Usually
Okay, personal stuff. Okay, personal stuff is like asking for my social security or my full real name.
Well,
yeah, no.
Well, yeah, but usually by the middle of the episode, we start talking about stuff like, well, what do you think about fate versus free will and stuff like that. And you said you didn't want to do that, so I figured, okay, so then let's not get into
fate versus free will. I mean, I think we have free will to an extent, but also we need to, if you want to exercise your free will, you want to change your environment because
that's not what I was trying to actually get to something else. I was trying to say that that I was using that as an example.
Oh.
So, but yeah, I was hoping we could actually end it relatively soon because usually we go for like 2 to 3 hours on my stream. I mean, you can keep going with your stream, obviously, since we're kind of doing it that way. But I was hoping, well, another tradition we have with the Sometimes Show is that the person who's the guest, and that's you, can choose who we raid. So, do you have anyone in mind you'd like us to raid?
No, not really. I mean, I feel like we didn't pick the best day for this show, but yeah, that's okay. Do you have plan on revisiting guest?
Oh, I am still trying to figure out what I want to do with the future of the show. To be honest, I did open up an application thing.
Go raid Tyler 1.
I don't know who that is.
Oh my god! If only he was on, right, Shreddy? What about Jinxies? Yeah, Jinxies. That motherfucker's cheating! Take my word!
Okay. Well,
somebody that's like in the smaller like VTuber space, you know.
Here, I'll raid your channel, so all the people watching me can go watch you afterwards.
I guess so. Yeah. Sure. Why not? It doesn't seem like the chat was very active tonight, although there were some great questions. Like, yeah, I am a little.
Well,
Yeah. Okay.
So let me just I'll say this much. So I want to thank you very much for coming up on the show and for sharing your thoughts about different things.
Even if we did get a little too political, I'm sorry about that. That was a little. I think I might have just overstepped a little bit, and I didn't mean to.
It's. I understand. I want to thank everyone who came to chat today, and I want to thank everyone who was watching at home, even if you didn't feel like talking. I just want to say thank you to everybody, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. All right. So I'm gonna raid Suspicious Pegasus, and thank you again for coming on. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.
Okay.